Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 69:16. If they can spend more than 200,000 to 300,000 yuan, a practical SUV must be the first choice. Remy's SUV sells 200,000 to 300,000 units a day, which is enough to show the important position of SUVs in China's mid to high-end car market. In order to make Changjing Automobile go global as quickly as possible, Charlie has even made plans. After Changjing Automobile has gained a foothold in the domestic market, he will use the rejuvenation pill to pave the way. Let the Rothschild family help him obtain production and sales qualifications in the West. Acquire an American car company with sufficient productivity, such as GM or Ford, and then let Bertnard take charge of brands like Peugeot, and then integrate them into Changjing Automobile's overseas production base. Although Charlie didn't know how to make or sell cars, he knew that this brand is named after his father, and he had to do his best to make it the best car brand in the world. This Spring Festival Gala, the elements of Changjing Automobile were not as ubiquitous as those of previous sponsors. Sometimes they did some implantation. Sometimes they asked the host to keep doing oral broadcasts. And sometimes they made red envelopes to increase their presence. Although Changjing Automobile also spent the same amount of money, it only made 2 advertisements, one of which was to let the host announce the release time of Changjing Automobile's new car. In addition, there was only a red tassel logo without words at the end of the program list. Low-key and restrained are the keynotes of Changjing Automobile's title this time. The programs followed one after another, steadily and accurately appearing like an assembly line. Although the comedy programs of the Spring Festival Gala have been regressing year by year, everyone has a strong sense of freshness because they have never tried to spend New Year's Eve with dozens of compatriots in a restaurant. Moreover, sometimes, people's laughter points will decrease as the number of people increases. This is why a person who watches a talk show video on his phone may think it is just SOSO. But the audience at the scene is all laughing, because the atmosphere at the scene is better after all. What Charlie didn't expect was that there was a mysterious program, which was not announced in advance in the Spring Festival Gala. When the host appeared on the screen, he smiled and said, "In the past, we would announce the program list before the Spring Festival Gala every year. But this time, our program team did not announce the program list completely, because we have been actively fighting for this program 2 days before the live broadcast. Now I can tell you that this program can finally meet you on the stage of the Spring Festival Gala." The host's few words aroused everyone's interest, regardless of whether the program is good or not. The Spring Festival Gala has always been very rigorous in the organization and arrangement of the program, in order to ensure that the ringing of the New Year's bell at midnight is not affected. The previous program must be accurate to the second. Anyone who deliberately extends or shortens the time of their program will be blacklisted by the director team, and will never have the opportunity to appear on this stage again. Therefore, the program list and time of the Spring Festival Gala are basically determined more than half a month in advance. And then rehearsals will be carried out again and again according to this program list. What kind of mysterious program can make the Spring Festival Gala program group fight for it to be determined 2 days before the performance? This is undoubtedly a big risk, which is completely opposite to the cautious style of the previous Spring Festival Gala. Just when everyone was puzzled, the host continued. Some time ago, a song frequently appeared on the hot search of major websites. This song is Assassin, sung by our favorite singers Sa Ji-yu and international superstar Tawana Sweet. Those who like Miss Ji-yu should know that she will retire from the entertainment industry after all her farewell concerts this year. So our director team has tried several times and finally invited Miss Ji-yu to the stage of the Spring Festival Gala again before she retires. The audience at the scene has already screamed and exclaimed. In the past Spring Festival Gala stage, such a fanatical phenomenon rarely appeared. Many viewers in front of the TV were even more excited. Who would have thought that Sa could be on the Spring Festival Gala again? At this time, the host smiled and said, "Please invite Sa to sing the song Assassin for us." The stage switched to ancient style again. And Sa, wearing an ancient long skirt, came on stage. Even in this restaurant on the Maldives island, many audiences clapped excitedly. Jacob also raised his hands and clapped them non-stop, and said with a smile, "Oh, this song was really popular some time ago. Miss Sweet sang this song in the bar yesterday." Claire pursed her lips, with a complicated expression, and said nothing. Charlie didn't pay attention to Claire's expression changes. He stared at the big screen and looked at Sa's red shawl curiously. Perhaps it can't be said to be a shawl, but more like a long red tassel. The silk-like material passed from her shoulders through her arms on both sides. And the long red satin fluttered in the wind behind her on both sides. This is a long tassel. Charlie knew that Sa was also using her way to express her respect to her father. Originally, Charlie might be the only one who could see the hidden meaning in this scene. But he did not expect that Claire, who was standing by, also saw Sa's intention. Their families were old friends, and they were engaged. Sa had been looking for him for so many years. Claire felt that Sa, who was wearing a long tassel on the stage at this moment, was Charlie's true emotional home. Chapter 69-17. When the New Year bells rang. It was only 9 o'clock in the evening in the Maldives. In order to create a better New Year atmosphere, Bernard Arnault spent a lot of money to purchase a lot of fireworks, which were specially brought to the bay by boat to be set off. The colorful fireworks rose from the seaside and went straight into the sky, exploding in the air, bursting out dazzling fireworks, and at the same time, being reflected by the sparkling seaside. This beautiful scenery of the sea and sky is fascinating. Claire looked at the fireworks on the seashore outside the window and murmured absent-mindedly, "I haven't seen such beautiful fireworks in a long, long time." Elaine took out her mobile phone to take pictures, while muttering, "Who doesn't say that? In our city, it has been banned for so many years. And I almost forgot what fireworks are. They are so beautiful, especially when they are so close and set off on the sea." Jacob's pupils reflected the fireworks that were shrunk countless times, and the wrinkles on his face were stacked with ups and downs and curves of happiness. He smiled and sighed, "When I was young, my favorite thing was to set off firecrackers. At that time, our family was well off and we had a little money. During the New Year, I always used all my New Year's money to buy various firecrackers. Every day, a bunch of children chased after me. And sometimes I gave them 1 or 2. They were so happy when they smashed and rubbed the cannons. And they also nominated me as their commander-in-chief." Elaine didn't understand his nostalgia and emotion, but just teased him sarcastically. "TSK, with your brother there, could you still be the commander-in-chief? By then, the commander-in-chief must have been your brother. Jacob waved his hand and said casually. That's not it, you don't understand. We are different in age, and we are not in the same team. He is the commander-in-chief in his team. And I am the commander-in-chief in mine. Elaine ate melon seeds and asked with a smile. With your brother's little idea? Had they thought about incorporating your team? Jacob slapped his thigh. Hey! Don't say it. He had always been thinking about incorporating my team. But I didn't agree, and I was beaten by him for this. I'll tell you. Elaine snorted. He is a coward since he was a child. He always thinks about taking advantage of others. Jacob nodded and sighed. He has been spoiled by Mom since he was a child. He wants everything, whether it's his or not. Elaine asked curiously, well, it's strange. Everyone in other families loves the younger ones. So why does your mother favor your eldest brother? Jacob smiled bitterly and said, I have never been as obedient as my brother since I was a child. He was smarter than me and could please my mother. Besides, no one in this family can really treat everyone equally. It's normal if one side is higher and the other side is lower. Elaine deliberately teased him. Your brother has been a coward since he was a child. And you have been the same. You two complement each other. Jacob didn't care about her teasing, but suddenly sighed and said, well, I don't know how they spent the new year and how they spent it. Elaine was a little angry. Oh, you are still thinking about them now. You really have time. How can you say that? Jacob muttered in a muffled voice. After all, we are blood relatives. Even if we don't have any contact, I still miss her in my heart. His wife was able to make some money some time ago. But because of you, she probably has no income now. Elaine said unconvinced, she deserves it. Who told her to do those scams? I contributed to society by exposing her. Jacob sighed, 9 out of 10 internet celebrities are scammers. She doesn't make any difference. If she makes money, my mother can live a good life with her. Elaine snorted, huh? She still wants to live a good life. God. You've been hesitating and still haven't accepted her yet. You're already doing her a favor. The old thing should have died long ago. When your dad left, he should have taken her with him. Jacob was a little angry and said with a red face. My mom is old. How many days can she live? Can't you have some moral integrity? Claire felt a deep sense of powerlessness in her heart at this moment. And unconsciously thought of Charlie's mother, who was an outstanding woman whom many Chinese wrote books and biographies about. Looking at her own mother, although she did not dislike her, she could not help but make comparisons after learning about Charlie's true identity. The indescribable sense of shame made Claire feel her eyelids burning. She looked at Elaine and couldn't help but sigh. Mom, that's enough. We have been separated from Grandma and Uncle for such a long time. What grudge do you have that makes you hate her so much? You are still cursing people to death during the New Year. Chapter 69:18. Elaine didn't know that her daughter's state at this time was different from before. She thought that she was just nagging at her routinely and had no offensive power. So she said in a cold voice with disdain, What's wrong with me cursing her to death? I tell you, I didn't kill that old thing with my own hands. It's already considered. He is a very good man. If it was someone else, your grandmother would have died countless times. Maybe one episode of today's statement would tell the story of her murder. After that, he sneered and said sarcastically, "To be honest, your grandfather is the only good man in the family. A few years ago, I complained about him forcing a good son-in-law on you. Now it seems that he did it for your own good. Otherwise we wouldn't be living such a prosperous life. He should have lived a few more years so that your grandmother would have died earlier." Oh? It's true that good people don't live long. But evil people live for 1,000 years. Elaine always loves to show off her tongue. An unbridled venting brings her strong pleasure. For so many years, she has been bullied outside. And she basically relies on venting at home to make up for her emotions. Sometimes, she will also have the mentality of deliberately going against others. For example, now, actually, she was just making a few sarcastic remarks about an old lady. But Jacob and Claire both seemed to be blaming her. So she couldn't help getting angry, so she said, "Oh, I just cursed that old woman to vent my anger. And you two dared to go against me. So I'm going to curse her to death." Once she got emotional, she spoke like a machine gun, venting non-stop. "Damn it, the old woman has bullied me a lot over the years. And my legs were broken by that old woman. If she really dies one day, I will definitely buy 20,000 yuan worth of firecrackers to celebrate. Even if firecrackers are banned in the city, I will still set them off. Even if I am arrested and put in the detention center for a few days, I will still set them off. I just want to make sure that old woman has no peace even after her death." Claire, who was always docile, suddenly stood up, slammed the table, and blurted out, "Enough!" This sudden action not only scared Jacob and Elaine, but also scared many guests around. Claire lost control of her emotions. And regardless of the surprised looks from the people around her, she stood up and walked out quickly. Seeing this, Charlie hurriedly followed, only to hear Elaine saying stubbornly behind him, "This kid, her elbows are always bent outwards. Never on my side at all." The moment Claire rushed out of the door, tears could not stop flowing. Charlie caught up with her and saw her in tears. He asked her with concern, "Wife, what's wrong?" Claire shook her head and said stubbornly, "It's okay, I'm fine." Charlie realized something was wrong and asked her quickly, "Why are you crying?" "Mom is always like this. To be honest, I'm used to it." "You should have gotten used to it earlier." Claire couldn't control herself and cried with an emotional breakdown. "I just don't want her to be like this for the rest of her life. I just hope she can make some progress. Become a little better, and not be so desperate. Why can't she do it? She has been like this for almost 30 years, from childhood to adulthood. She has suffered so much over the years. But she has never really learned from experience. She has never corrected her own faults and problems over the years. She always blames others and always blames others for letting her down. Do you know what's the only improvement I've seen from her over the years?" Charlie shook his head awkwardly and asked, "What is it?" Claire cried and yelled, "It's her attitude towards you. Over the years, the only improvement she's made is her attitude towards you. As for the rest, there's absolutely no change or improvement." Charlie comforted her, "Even if you only see this little bit of progress, it's at least an improvement. Then you can't completely deny that she hasn't made any progress over the years, right?" Claire burst into tears and choked up. Yes. There is a little bit of progress. Steps. But I know, it's not her who's getting better. It's you who's getting better. As she said that, she raised her head, looked at him with red eyes. Tears couldn't stop flowing, and I choked up. It's because your ability is getting stronger, your network is getting wider, and you're making more and more money. So she calls you a good son-in-law, and she dares not mock you or insult you at every turn like before. She is still the same her, the one who never changes. At this moment, Claire's emotions completely collapsed. Squatting on the ground, burying her face in her arms, crying and shaking all over. Charlie didn't understand. He felt that Claire shouldn't be so sensitive. People say that too many lice don't itch. He had been bitten by Elaine for 5 or 6 years. And he was completely immune to the bites. Claire lived with her for 30 years. Why did she suddenly lose her mind? So he speculated that her state was obviously problematic. And the sudden loss of control did not seem to be entirely related to Elaine. But what else was the reason? He couldn't figure it out. Some things in life are like this. It's like a math problem with a key condition missing. You know something is wrong. But you can't figure out what's wrong, and you can't guess the correct solution and answer. Claire's pain is superimposed on many aspects, including years of accumulated depression, unspeakable pain, and even pain that she has nowhere to confide. Thinking that she will disappear from Charlie's world in another month. She feels even more painful. At this moment, she is the loneliest person in the world. Chapter 69-19. Charlie, who was slow in emotional response, did not understand the real reason for Claire's emotional breakdown. He just felt that Claire might be crushed one day after enduring Elaine's values and style of doing things for so many years. Perhaps Elaine's words just now were the last straw that broke her back. So he took Claire in his arms and patted her back silently. Claire cried for a while, and her mood eased a little. She wiped away her tears and said to Charlie, "Walk with me to the beach." "Okay." Charlie readily agreed and walked to the beach hand in hand with her. The two walked slowly on the waves, and no one spoke. Enjoying this rare world of two people. At this time, the Spring Festival Gala was coming to an end. Many guests had already left the restaurant and returned to their rooms. At the same time, on the base island of the Warrior's Den, Victoria watched the Spring Festival Gala without saying a word, and said to Revendor with a sneer on her face, "Since the Wade family and the Yin family have made peace with each other, their actions have become bigger and bigger. The changing automobile they built is really like a thorn in my flesh." Revendor immediately said, "Lord, changing automobile is currently in the development and construction stage. Do you want to arrange for some agents to go there to do some damage?" Victoria waved her hand and said, "I know that the Yin family is in China. Sending the 3 elders there will most likely kill the whole family. But the reason why I didn't take any action is that I don't know the depth of the mysterious enemy in the dark. And secondly, Nicholas, the old fox, is now investing heavily in China. If I touch him or destroy his whole family, then the end of the Warrior's Den will come." Revendor asked, "Lord, if you don't find a way to do something? The Yin family and the Wade family are so high profile. And I am worried that these people will jump up and down and disturb the peace of the Lord." Victoria couldn't help but grit her teeth. What Revendor said was a thorn in her heart. She said with a murderous look in her eyes and a gloomy expression. Over the years, after Margaret and Changing died, the Anne and Wade families have been keeping a low profile. I have always suspected that Margaret is still alive. So I didn't kill the two families all these years. Instead, I sent scholars to the Anne family to inquire about the news. But I didn't expect that after 20 years, the Anne family didn't have any news that Margaret was still alive. At this point, Victoria frowned and said coldly, "If it was someone else, they would definitely think that they were worrying too much. Or that Margaret had already died. I died at the hands of the elder. But I never dared to relax, always feeling that she must still be alive. And must be doing her best to seek revenge on me in secret. Later, I tried to wipe out the Anne family twice, just to force her to show up. But she didn't show up. Instead, a very powerful, mysterious man appeared. Now the chess game has become more and more complicated." Revendor knelt on one knee and said respectfully, "Master, if Margaret doesn't show up and there is no clue about the mysterious man, I dare to suggest to you that you might as well fight them to the death." Victoria asked him back, "Why do you say that?" Revendor clasped his fists and raised them above his head, and said loudly, "Lord, I know that Margaret and Maria may have the secret to make you immortal for 1,000 years. I also dare to say something that deserves the death penalty. If Margaret really delays your immortality for 1,000 years, why should you care about the 400 years of the warrior's den? It's better to fight them to the death. Even if you really provoke those big countries, what's the worst? At most, you can abandon this base. With your strength, Lord, no matter where you want to go. Who in this world can stop you?" Victoria looked at him, and a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. Chapter 69:20. The Wu family has had a good life for too long. And many people are afraid that they will act rashly and harm the entire Wu family. Only Revendor said that he might as well drag the entire warrior's den into the water. This is exactly what he wants. Victoria had long thought that since she couldn't get the evergreen pill, her lifespan would only be a few decades. It didn't matter if she couldn't find Maria. But Margaret couldn't escape. If Margaret didn't show up again, what would happen if she killed her whole family? Even if the two great powers of the East and the West wanted to join forces to eradicate the warrior's den, what would happen? When her lifespan is about to end, she didn't care about anything. If it were really a situation where she was going to die, it would be good to kill more people before she dies. So, she said to Revendor, "Revendor, start to adjust. I will wait for Margaret for 3 more years at most. If she still doesn't show up after 3 years, I will wipe out the Anne family and the Wade family, leaving no direct members alive." Revendor immediately said loudly, "I obey your order." On the first day of the new year, Bertnard took a seaplane to Mail, the capital of the Maldives, early in the morning, and then took his private plane back to France. Although Cheval Blanc has returned to a peaceful and tranquil state, the outside world's discussion about Cheval Blanc has not diminished at all. The world media are constantly doing various special reports. And even many experts have come to analyze the situation in Syria and the role of Western governments behind this matter. The pressure on the Syrian opposition is surprisingly great. Although they were all mudlegs or even terrorists, The situation is different now. The rebels seized power, and they are no longer rebels, but regular troops. The difference between the regular army and the rebels is that the regular army, with its own country, can no longer fight guerrilla warfare everywhere, as it pleases. It has to take its own image into consideration to some extent. Therefore, they dare not continue to attack Hamid. They can only declare that the Black Waters Marquet deliberately framed them. They have a close comrade-in-arms relationship with Hamid, and there is no possibility of assassinating him with others. However, this claim is useless, and almost no one will buy it. After Blackwater threw out the scapegoat, although the outside doubts increased instead of decreasing, they still chose to pretend to be dumb. They knew very well that this kind of thing could not be explained. The more they explained, the more they were criticized. The mainstream media also kept silent about this matter. But not all. Some media's coverage of this matter can be said to be working overtime and intensively. The media in Britain, France, Germany, and Italy have publicly launched a heavy attack on Blackwater. They criticize Blackwater, dig up the past and dirt, and portray Bernard Arnault as the most courageous and responsible billionaire in the world. Today, the president will summon Bernard to the Élysée Palace. Although the summoning time is 2 p.m. local time. Many media have arrived at the palace in the morning to prepare. The airport is unprecedented. In order to take first-hand photos of Bernard's return to the country, each media has sent a team of reporters. Set up long guns and short guns at the airport runway, waiting to welcome the hero of France. According to the plan of the French government, the Prime Minister will meet with the President. So the Prime Minister also came to the airport early to prepare to meet Bernard, in order to make the welcoming ceremony as grand as possible. They arranged for the airport to prepare 4 remote parking stands in advance. These 4 stands were only used to park Bernard's private plane. All the invited media were waiting to take pictures opposite the parking stands. After the plane landed, it would taxi here so that Bernard could get off the plane in the spotlight. At this time, Bernard had not arrived at the airport yet. But his familiar media friends had already sent him photos of the scene through the satellite network. When Bernard saw the scene welcoming him, he was so happy that he couldn't keep his mouth shut with his white hair. He couldn't help but smile and sighed to his wife. "Oh, I have been scolded as a profiteer for decades. But I didn't expect that I would become a hero now."